and it's tied to the Mayfair Witch. It's the third novel in the trilogy of Lives of the Mayfair Witches. Um, Lasher was the first one, and then Mayfair Witches was the first. The Witching Hour. We had the Witching Hour, Lasher, and now Taltos. So in Taltos, you're introduced to Ashlar, and he's a Taltos, and probably the last of his kind. Um, and there's male Taltos has been seen in Donaleth. Um, and Ashlar is shocked because he hasn't seen one of his kind in centuries. And Rowan's in this, she has a daughter. After burying her daughter, the Taltos Emeleth, she goes into a semi-catonic state. She walks, she bathes, she eats, but doesn't speak. Her husband Michael and, of course, adopted designated heiress Mona are really worried about her. And a visiting cousin, Mary Jane, she's hilarious. She's a character you just love. She's just very open, but she's a Mayfair witch also. She takes a look at Ronan and declares she's still there, and that she'll speak in her own time. And of course, Aaron Leitner, he's also was part of the Talamasca. He was excommunicated. He married into the family. And somebody's out to kill him because he was run over by a car. And after saying goodbye to him, she makes plans with Michael to go to London and seek revenge on the Talamasca, because she believes they're responsible for Aaron's death. There's a whole, Mona, Michael, Rowan thing going on here, which is really bizarre. By the time they find the little people of Donaleth, and they are Taltos who never fed on their mother's milk, and they become stunted. And by then, the head of the Talamasca has been killed, yada, yada, yada. But Taltos, it kind of wraps up Lives of the Mayfair Witches. Although, down the line in the Vampire Chronicles, they're entwined together. So, I just wanted to get you a head up on Taltos. So, now you know about it. I'm going to move on to Servant of the Bones. I really enjoyed this book. I know it's kind of boring tonight, and I apologize for that. Like I said, I got kind of, how do I want to say, too much into the cult side, too much detailed stuff, and I really don't like doing that. I like to make it more fun. So this was kind of a last-minute, spur-of-the-moment thing. So I do apologize for that. I know it gets boring with me talking all the time. And this is more a historical novel, but I really enjoyed this one. Let me get it here. Servant of the Bones. And a new saga begins, a major departure for Anne Rice. After creating the fantastic universes of vampires and witches, having chronicled the exploits of Lestat and the Mayfairs, she carries us now into new realms of the occult, the mystical and the magical, and into the present, now and through the centuries, of a dark and luminous new hero, the powerful, witty, smiling Azrael, who is the servant of the bones. And of course, he is ghost, demon, angel, and in love with good, enthralled to evil. He pours out his heart to us, telling his astonishing story when he finds himself in our own time in New York City, a day's witness to the murder of a young girl called Esther, and he finds himself obsessed by the desire to avenge her. And he takes us back to his mortal youth, the magnificent city of Babylon, the gateway to the pagan gods. We see Azrael's 20, a Jew, educated, rich, beautiful, and devoted to his captive Hebrew tribe, and dedicated to his prophet Jeremiah and Isaiah. In the time of bloody wars and religious upheaval, greedy kings and cunning magicians who vie with, of course, the rabble for spiritual domination, Azrael falls victim to a royal plot, which is compounded by his devotion to his Hebrew God, only to be plucked from death by evil priests and sorceresses and transformed into basically a genie commanded to do their bidding. So Azrael, servant of the bones, he is basically a genie, a jinn. So challenging these forces of destruction, marshaling all his strength and wit to defeat him, Azrael embarks on his perilous journey through time. So that's servant, kind of an interesting thing about servant of the bones. Azrael is struggling to understand whether he is a ghost, a demon, or an angel. He's trying to understand why God has denied him the stairway to heaven, and to be made into a mortal spirit who is bound to the golden. He's bound to the golden case bones of his mortal body. And as a genie, he must obey the master of those bones, whoever has them at the moment. It's kind of like a genie in the lamp, but this one has his bones, golden crusted bones. It was a ritual. It was supposed to be an honor to do, and basically he was made to swallow and encased in gold. And that's why his bones are gold. He's a servant of them. And of course he's telling of his story, and whoever owns his bones, whoever has them at the time, that is his master. And he becomes less obedient to the masters, and a warning is placed on the casket of his bones that he is not to be summoned lest his evil be loosed upon the world. And finally he gets a couple centuries of rest, but he wakes up to find himself in New York City. He's a witness to the murder of a young woman, Esther Belkin, and he becomes obsessed to avenge her death and to find out who called him into the world to begin with, to see Esther die, but not in time to save her. This leads him to the girl's stepfather, who would pay any price to fulfill his dream via his worldwide religious organization, the Temple of the Mind of God. And as his quest approaches the end, he risks his supernatural powers to forestall an attempt to destroy the world and redeeming what was denied him for so long, his eternal human soul. But it's a story of how he became the servant of the bones and his different masters, and how more and more some of the evil ones he was made to obey. He was like, no, I'm done with this. So he kind of defied them over and over again. Hey Chris, what's up? Kind of boring tonight, and I apologize, guys. Like I said, I was going to do a piece on cults tonight, but I was kind of overthinking it and too much into it. And I like too much little details. I don't need to do that. So I wasn't real happy with the outcome I was getting. So I decided to go with Anne Rice tonight because of her new book also, Prince Lestat, which is, I have not read the new one. So I'm going to be as amazed of you. And it's called Prince Lestat in the Realms of Atlantis. And This was just published last year, and it's the 12th novel in the Vampire Chronicles. And it was published in November 2016. It's written as both a first-person and third-person type of thing. So that's what that is how it's told. And just a quick summary. Lestat sees visions of a ruined city in his sleep. And in my dreams I saw a city fall into the sea. I heard the cries of 1,000. Writes Rice as Lestat. He and Amel, the spirit Lestat, bonded in the preceding novel. Search for the meaning behind the visions of Atlantis and what it means to the vampires. And it presents a likely procession of blood drinkers from previous adventures, again as they form a united front against a possible adversary in the form of beings created many millennia ago for one specific purpose, the destruction of Atlantis and its all-powerful ruler, Amel. So that's what that one's about. And like I said, I have it, but I haven't read it. So as soon as I read it, I'll get back to you. But in the coming weeks, I'm going to be doing some travel things. I need to know. Oh, thank you, Ike. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is interesting, and it's so cool if you read it from start and all the books to finish. But you have to do the Mayfair Witches too. The Mayfair Witches are phenomenal. I love that book. I have the hardback of it, and I about wore the cover off. I have read it so many times. I just love that book. So now I'm going to have to read it again because I brought it up. So we did that, but in the coming weeks, and then 2 weeks, I think I'm going to do the cult thing. I'm going to kind of tune it up, refine it, and work the kinks out of it because And tonight they had a documentary on, of course, the Reverend Jones and his Kool-Aid. So, but we're going to delve into the, seedy world of cults here in a couple weeks. And I will be doing your follow-up on the urban legends where you live. So I need the cities where you guys live. Chris yours is in Lynchburg, I think. What city in Colorado? And Liza City. I know where Lori lives. Stephen, Susan. I'll be asking them exactly where you guys live. So I'm going to do a thing on like day trips or things to see in those areas. Because other people want to see them, so if we can come see you guys, that would be even better. So, our listeners can come see you guys. So, that's the kind of a plan for the future here. Next week, I think I'll do the day trip thing because summertime and everything. Kids are out of school, of course. You got to find something to do. And then we'll do cults, and then I'll do the urban legends. So that's 3 weeks of podcasts coming up of what we're going to be doing. So, North Glen, awesome. North Glen, Colorado. Yes, okay, cool, awesome. I knew Chris's. See, I will come knocking on your door one night. And so, like I said, it was a little boring tonight. I get it. Like I said, it was spur of the moment, and I do apologize. But I hope you kind of enjoyed the background on Anne Rice and her writings and the different things going on in her life. She was back and forth with Catholicism. Her daughter Michelle unfortunately died of leukemia when she was 5, so she had a depressive state in there. And that's when Interview with the Vampire and Claudia came up. So that was pretty awesome. Christopher Rice, he is also a writer and poet, like his dad. Stan was a poet. I don't know if you've heard of him, Chris. Stan Rice? I don't know if you've read any of his. Oh, Vampire Story. I love the ghosts in these. In the Mayfair Witches, you have Lasher, and you have Julian Mayfair. Julian Mayfair, oh, what a scoundrel, but he was fun. He was a fun character. And, kind of backstory on the witches and the way back.